One of the problems with requirements is that there's so many of them, it's hard to know if they're actually required and where they came from. It's also really easy to get them wrong, to forget to maintain them, to have something that used to be a requirement but isn't anymore, but it's still in your documentation, or to just start writing something about a requirement and then get distracted by a meeting or an interruption and never quite finish it off properly and then accidentally get that shipped into a security policy or a document like that. So in the Zenable system, we take all of that information, we import it into our patent pending graph database. So you can see at the middle here. And then we use that in a number of different integration points across the software development lifecycle of systems. So if you want to take a look at how that actually works, you would start by importing a document, say a security policy. We have a written information security plan imported here, a couple of them. So you do that import, then it automatically identifies things like roles, responsibilities, controls, and we have our graph database. So you can actually visualize and you can see, oh great, we've got this CISO and they're completely overworked, overburdened with everything. Okay, one of the cool things about our platform is that we also have these insights. And so what we did here is because we have it in a graph database form, we are able to do traversals and look and examine that graph and find problems with it. And so we can see these things called orphans. These are also disconnected entities. These are things that were mentioned in those documents, but they aren't connected to the rest of the graph. So if we go back over here, we might have up here a whole bunch of things like background checks or security awareness training that should be connected to your security program, but they just aren't. And if you are able to identify that we have these orphans and we surface those recommendations here, you might be able to better form the sentences in your governance documents so that it's more usable to the people that are reading it, right? If we go back to, we are still creating documents for humans, right? And I hope for a long time we still continue to do that. These people need to be able to read the documents and understand what it is that they're reading. And so this insights panel automatically assesses when you have ideas that just aren't really, don't have good continuity in those governance documents. But it can do other things as well. So it can identify if you have roles that just have too many responsibilities. So here we've got the CISO. Remember, going back over here, they've got tons of responsibilities in this graph. Here we actually are saying that it has many more responsibilities than the average. Technically, it has 2 standard deviations above the mean. And so we could see they've got all of these different responsibilities in our governance. Maybe we should fix that. Maybe we should give them fewer responsibilities. Or on the other side of it, we might have like this, general counsel. So we've mentioned general counsel. That is a role in our governance documents, but we've given them no responsibilities. The core question here is, why did we mention them? Why did we mention them if they have no responsibilities? They're not responsible for or related to the graph in any way. They're orphaned. They're kind of off on their own. And so by being able to assess the graph, distill it into a graph, and then do these examinations as analysis, we can find parts of language in your governance documents, regardless of if it's 10 or 1,000 pages long, find these places where it's a little bit hard to read or understand, or maybe you've got just old cruft, things that have been in there for 10 years, and as a part of reorganizing and updating it, it just hasn't gotten the proper attention and it's kind of orphaned out there. We automatically find those and make it easier for you to fix them. The idea here is that if the inputs, if the security policies and contracts and other governance are well connected, cohesive, and easy to read and understand for humans, that also feeds the policy graph and makes it easy for us to feed to AI tools, to make policy as code automated enforcement of these requirements, make that accessible throughout your whole software development lifecycle. So the great part about this automated analysis is it makes it easier for humans to understand your requirements, and it makes it easier for tools to automatically enforce those requirements through your software development lifecycle.